Hello friends, I am Resham and I am a faculty with Noida Institute of Engineering and Technology, Greater Noida, and I welcome you back to yet another session on the strategic HRM and how we are going to link the strategic HRM with the business strategy. So, let us see what are the objectives of today's session. So, we are going to see what are the essential elements of SHRM, what are the steps that are required in order to follow the SHRM process, and how are we going to link the HR practices to the business strategies. And now, let us see what are the key elements of SHRM. So, when we talk about strategic HRM, we are talking about the transformation of the employees within the organization as well as the HR staff. And we are also going to focus on how the transformation happens in the organizational structure and how the next the factors that are going to be helpful for the enhancing of administrative efficiency is also focused. So, quickly, how is the organization or the HR team going to focus on when it comes to strategic HRM? The most important people who are going to implement the SHRM are the workforce or the HR team that is there, and how committed are they towards the implementation of SHRM. When we talk about organization, we all understand that if the objectives are framed by the organization and there is a specific strategy that they want to follow, the first and foremost people who are going to implement it is the HR team itself. So, all the employees of the HR team need to be clear about what they are going to follow and how are they going to implement those changes. So, change management, strategic planning and team building are the focus areas that the HR staff need to focus on. And apart from that, the organizational unit needs to be restructured in case, then the strategic HRM focuses on how are these restructuring going to happen and how are they going to implement the change in the organization. What are the various positions that will be newly identified or which needs to be created in the organization in order to restructure? What are the skills that are required for those new roles and what type of employees will be able to handle those kind of new areas? Whether the employees who are existing in the organization, can they be restructured, I mean they can be repositioned in the organization, and whether the structure that is being followed is relevant to the HR function of the organization. Say for example, if an organization is in a mindset of restructuring, then it becomes very important for the HR department to identify whether they have to have a central HR team or whether they are going to have a decentralized HR team. Again, it depends totally on what type of business the organization is into and what is more relevant for that kind of an organization. So, there are companies, say for example, if we talk about IT giant like TCS, they have got a central HR team. Apart from that, every job location or the facility has got their own individual HR team which caters to the requirement of that particular job location. So, it totally depends on the business in which the organization is into and how relevant it will be for them to have a centralized HR function or a decentralized HR function, and what are the roles of the corporate HR team and what are the roles of the individual HR team that are there in the various geographies. So, these are some of the important elements of SHRM. Apart from that, when we talk about administrative efficiency, targeting on the current process is the most important factor that HR team needs to focus on. So, lot of improvement can be made in the existing process So, ultimately the improvement will only be possible if the employees are made aware about what the current process is and how they would like to improve it. The HR department has to focus on the various implemental aspects of the existing process and how they can use the centralized HR services in making those developments, and how are they going to create a value for the firm. When we talk about the strategic HR team, it is always important that the employees create some kind of a value for the firm by utilizing their existing skills. The HR team need to identify what are the skill sets of the existing workforce, and is there any competitive advantage that the employees are having right now that can create value for the firm in any possible manner. It can be a technological value addition, it can be a structural value addition, or it can be a quality value addition. So, all this is only possible if the HR team is aware about the workforce that is currently available within the organization. Apart from that, the HR team also need to work towards integrating the strategic planning process into the day-to-day activity of the employees. So, if the organization has already planned a certain kind of output in the next few years, every employee in the organization should be working towards achievement of the same, and this is only possible if the HR team is able to bridge those gaps that is existing between the current employee performance and the expected employee performance. So, every aspect of the workforce need to focus on achieving the objectives that is being set by the strategic team. So, it is very crucial for the HR team to integrate them. Let us see how the business strategy should be linked to the HR practices. So, the most important challenge that the HR team faces is how to find a fit that is going to be helpful in attaining the business strategy, and how it is going to be a relevant issue for the HR team and the line manager. So, what kind of a fit is required, what are the various areas in which these changes need to be implemented, and what kind of HR activities should the HR team perform, so that the achievement of the goal and objective can be done in a smooth and easy manner. So, let us quickly see what are the focus areas for the HR fit. When we talk about vertical fit, here we are considerate about whether the organization has those business strategies in place and whether the employees in the organization are able to work towards the achievement of those strategies, whether the employees are capable enough to achieve those strategies, or whether there is some kind of a requirement to bridge those gaps. This is with vertical fit. When we talk about the horizontal fit, it is important to understand whether the various employees within the organization working across different teams are focused towards achieving a common goal, because every team, whether it is coming for production or it is for services, the different teams working in an organization have different kind of job roles and their responsibilities are different. When it comes to production, we talk about production efficiency and whether we are utilizing the available production capacity to its maximum. When we talk about technology driven organization like IT companies or pharmaceuticals, we are again going to focus on whether the skills of the employees are utilized to the maximum benefit of the organization. So, here comes the horizontal fit, where we talk about whether the qualities or the capabilities of the employees across the various functionalities are towards the achievement of the business strategy. And most important one is the external fit. When we talk about external fit, we are more concerned about the policies and guidelines framed by the industry and also the legislative policies of the government and the various organizations that are directly or indirectly affecting the business. So, if the external fit is available, say, because in the current global scenario, the organization is affected by different agencies in different locations. Say for example, if a company is functional in Europe, they have to follow certain guidelines. If they are functional in the Middle East, they have to follow certain guidelines. So, ultimately it is very crucial for the employees in the organization to have an external fit, whether they are following all the parameters that are important for the growth of the organization within the particular environment. That is very crucial for the organization. Apart from that, today in the global scenario, resource flexibility is also a very crucial part for business strategy. When we talk about resource flexibility, we work 24/7 across various geographies and across various timelines. So, it is very important that the organization utilizes the entire resources that are available and how flexibly are they able to use those resources. Say for example, if we talk about also outsourcing firms, there are the same organization facility is being used across 3 to 4 different time zones, and 2 to 3 team of people work with the same available infrastructure across the 24 hours of the day. So, there should be a flexibility, and the HR practices should be such that it should be able to use those resources that are available in the organization. Apart from that, there should be a coordination flexibility. So, when we talk about HR practices, it should be such that there should be a proper coordination between the various functions in the organization as well as the teams that are working in the organization. When we talk about employees in a IT company, we will always see that there are employees who are having specific skills, and they will be always utilized for various projects on different time zones. So, it is very important that the HR practices should be such that the employees within the organization feel it comfortable to coordinate with the various team leaders and also with various project managers. So, when we talk about IT companies, the available resources need to be utilized efficiently amongst the various projects, and how good are they able to coordinate with each other, and whether there is a flexibility of utilizing the common resources and by the various teams. So, these are some of the important areas that links the HR practices with the business strategy. So, in the upcoming session, we will take a case for a particular company and see how the linking of the HR practices are towards the achievement of the business strategy. So, quickly let us see what are the process involved in strategic HRM. So, the first and foremost process is scanning the environment. When we talk about environment, it is both the internal as well as the external environment that is affecting a particular business area. So, when we talk about the external environment, it needs to be important for the HR manager to identify the workforce, what is the work culture, what are the skills of the staffs, what are the compensation levels, the reasons for exit and the other relevant information. So, these are some of the factors on which the organization has very little control. The reasons for exit, say for example, of an employee could be a few things that can be in the control of the organization, but there could be certain external factors that would have affected the exit of a particular employee. So, the organization need to identify based on the various data or information available within the organization to identify the reasons for exit. If we talk about this, HR analytics is playing a major role in identifying the various factors that may affect the environment of the organization. Talking about the internal environment, here we talk about the cultural changes, the hierarchy or the business process, the SWOT analysis and the industrial relations that are there in the organization. So, what kind of a culture is prevalent in the organization that will impact directly on the achievement of the strategic goals. The next important stage in human resource management is identifying the sources of competitive advantage. Every organization has to identify what are the core areas or the core competencies of the workforce and what is that makes the company have a competitive advantage in terms of its presence in the market. How better are they when compared to their competitor companies. So, it is very important to identify what parameters brings us to be a better company when compared to the competitors. So, certain parameters include product quality, customer services, brand positioning and delivery of the product or the service. So, these are some of the parameters which should be identified and how good are our employees in delivering this. If we create some kind of a quality amongst the employees or skills among the employees through training programs, that will enrich their skills and this will be used for making a better quality product or making a better brand positioning that will help in the development of the organization. Coming to the next stage in the process of SHRM, we need to identify what are the HRM strategies that needs to be followed. So, the most important strategy that any organization should do is learning as socialization. When there are lots of companies who have a learning portal within their organization, we term it as LMS or the learning management system portal that is available. So, the training courses are made available amongst the employees through this LMS portal and they follow various methods in which the employees can be trained across the various geographies in one go. So, there are various gaming methods that are also used in order to train the new employees. Say for example, if we talk about IT companies like Infosys or TCS, they follow a stipulated time frame for training the employees and the new employees are trained in a very productive manner within a given time frame. This is possible by creating a learning environment through socialization and they ensure that every employee follows certain rules and values of the organization during their training phase itself. So, unless and otherwise the employees do not follow the training process, they are not able to rise up in the organization. So, every employee is given a set of training program and if the employee is able to complete that, that is when he or she becomes eligible for a certain kind of job role. So, this is how an organization designs its training program. The next important thing is how good the employees are aware about the learning opportunities and the career development that are available in an organization. So, many of the organization for example, follow a tie-up with any of the leading universities or educational institution for the employees to take benefit out of it and have a career development. Again, I would like to talk about the collaboration of Wipro with some of the leading universities of the country for giving MBA programs for their employees, so that the employee can rise high in the career graph. So, these are some of the methods that are used by the organization. And when we talk about engineering, here we focus more on how to create and develop communities amongst the employees, and how we can utilize the social networking in making the employees to learn better. So, ultimately the networks within the organization and outside the organization can be utilized for the development of the employees, all the more in some of the areas like technology based areas, or even in some of the skill based areas. So, when we talk about the empowerment of informal learning amongst the employees, there are various areas in which there is a provision for learning, and there are employees who have been working with a particular kind of technology for a period of say 10 or 15 years. When there is a change in the technology, it becomes very crucial for the employee to upgrade himself or upskill himself in order to fit with the current requirement. So, employees need to have a learning environment in order to facilitate learning and development. So, the new process has to be designed in such a way that the employees get more opportunity to upskill themselves or upgrade themselves in their current technology. Apart from that, the new work areas which are identified by the organization, say after introducing a new product line, or maybe introducing the business into a new geographical area or into a new business area, it becomes important for the employees to have a provision for learning and implementing those learning into the business. So, it becomes very crucial for employees to share the knowledge as well as the experience with the existing employees as well as with the new employees who are hired in future. So, the skills as well as the experience both needs to be shared, and this environment has to be provided by the HR department, so that there can be a learning environment in the organization. Implementing the HR strategies is a major process, and once all the strategies are designed, it becomes very crucial for the HR department to implement these strategies in day to day activities. The first and foremost thing that is involved in implementation is creating awareness amongst the employees about the various HR strategies. The employee should be aware about the growth, the career graph, and also the development areas that are there in the organization. If the employee are not aware about the various possible areas where they can improve, there is no scope for them to improve. Hence, the employees need to utilize the various opportunities, and they should grow themselves in the organization, and the HR department should ensure that the strategies that are being implemented are being utilized. They need to monitor whether these are followed in the right manner or not. Apart from that, the organization should have a clear monitoring and evaluation process in place. So, every organization should have a clear performance appraisal methodology. They should identify the skills and the various parameters that needs to be evaluated on a routine basis and in a timely manner. The organization should implement some of these HR strategies amongst the workforce by training the line managers about the expectations and the parameters in which they need to be evaluated, and how are they going to evaluate their subordinates. Unless this monitoring and evaluation process is not done in a proper manner, the organization will not be able to grow, and this will also lead to delay in the achievement of the strategic goals. So, these are some of the important processes that are important for the implementation of strategic HRM, and these are some of the ways in which an organization can function towards the achievement of its strategic goals. I hope this session was useful for you and you were able to get the benefits of strategic HRM. Thank you.